Thanks, Dan. And don't forget the WBOC News mobile app offers weather updates, including radar and severe weather alerts. You can also watch WBOC News broadcasts live on your device. The WBOC mobile app is available on iTunes and Android.
You can also get updates on the WBOC 16 weather Facebook page. The Storm Tracker weather team is posting updates on this wet and windy weather, and all you have to do is like the WBOC 16 weather Facebook page.
And of course, it is the day before Thanksgiving, the busiest traveling day of the year. Now, before you head out, you'll want to make sure there are no wind restrictions for the Chesapeake Bay Bridge and the Bay Bridge Tunnel. Here are the numbers to call if you have any questions. Chesapeake Bay Bridge, 1-877-BAY-SPAN. Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, 1-757-331-2960. Now, the bridge closes with sustained winds exceeding 55 miles an hour or wind gusts exceeding 55 miles an hour.
From today through Sunday, millions of us will hit the road to visit loved ones. AAA predicts more than 43 million people will travel 50 miles or more from home this Thanksgiving holiday weekend. 90% of us will be traveling by car.
Now, break that down locally. AAA Mid-Atlantic expects nearly 118,000 Delawareans to travel this holiday, 903,000 in Maryland, and 1.2 million people in Virginia.
That is a lot of people. That is a lot of vehicles. And we need to be very, very careful. One of the dangers that we drivers face is sharing the road with tractor trailers. Now, you know that feeling. You're driving along and all of a sudden a big rig whizzes by and you can feel the movement in your car. You can feel it teeter just from the tractor trailer's force and power going by.
Right. Now, according to Road Safe America, every year 5,000 people are killed in crashes involving tractor trailers. Now, listen to this. That's the equivalent of 2 airline crashes every month with everyone on board dying. A fully loaded tractor trailer traveling 60 miles an hour has the force of a car driving 300 miles an hour. So it just makes sense that a tractor trailer needs 3 times the distance a passenger car requires to make a sudden stop.
I was just cringing from watching that video there. These are statistics that one family knows all too well. It was Thanksgiving weekend in 2002 when Cullum and Pierce here, Cullum and Pierce Owings, their brothers, loaded their car after a visit with family. They were on their way back to school in Virginia.
I remember watching them back out the driveway and saying a prayer.
Within minutes of getting back to school, traffic came to a standstill. Cullum looked into his rearview mirror and saw something coming at them. It was a tractor trailer.
He whipped over into the median trying to avoid whatever was coming fast behind us, and something hit us like a freight train.
Pierce turned around, saw his brother Cullum hunched over. Later that night, Pierce had to call his parents.
And he calls from the ambulance to make what had to be an awfully tough call for him. And he told us that Cullum was gone.
The tractor trailer was going just 8 miles over the 65-mile-an-hour posted speed limit.
Well, after losing his son, Steve Owings has now made it his mission to make our roads safer.
Now, he says he's not anti-truck, but he is pro-highway safety.
And we really appreciate Steve joining us today. So, Steve, after this accident, how did it change your life?
Well, dramatically. I think every parent can imagine the emotional part of it. But in the fallout of everything, we learned so many horrendous facts involving the conditions that we all share space with big rigs at high speeds, like you say, every day, and what that leads to. We also learned about what other countries have done to reduce those risks. And unfortunately, the United States was way behind. So we've been working to close that gap the past 10.5 years.
Steve, thank you for telling this story. We know it's tough, especially this time of year, but you've made it your mission now to make our roads safer. What can we do?
Well, one thing we've implemented is, of course, Drive Safer Sunday to alert all motorists to the fact that this period, and especially the Sunday after Thanksgiving, and really the whole holiday season for that matter, is the most congested traffic time of the year. So we want everybody to be warned that they need to expect congestion, not be surprised by it. And that you can only do that by being well rested and staying really alert. And of course, slowing down, buckling up, and giving big rigs plenty of room because they simply can't see, maneuver, or stop the same way we can.
Yeah.
The other thing we're working on is we've called on Washington to make common sense changes in this country. I would remind your audience that trucking is the only freight mode that does all of their work on public roads. Consequently, you'd assume that they'd be held to the highest of all safety standards.
Right.
Sadly, the opposite is true. So we're working on making common sense changes. One of the things that's a great example is pending right now in the United States Department of Transportation, and that is a call to require all big rigs to set their speed limiters at 65 miles per hour or slower, so they can't go any faster than that. I would point out that amazingly, the United States is the only leading country without such a rule already in place.
While Washington considers that we have a huge traveling weekend, what would you tell drivers?
Well, there are a couple of things. First, go to our website and roadsafeamerica.org. There are lots of safe driving tips there for people generally sharing the road with big rigs and vice versa. Also, we hope that your audience will contact their congressman or woman as well as their senators' offices and let them know that they want their representatives to contact the Secretary of Transportation and demand that he get the rule out for requiring speed limiters to be set for big rigs immediately.
We can put that information on our website, Steve. Before we let you go, if you could boil everything down to just one thing that you'd want people to remember about Cullum, what would it be?
That he never met a stranger.
Sounds like a great guy. Thank you so much for joining us. And to read more about the Owings story or for more information on what Steve discussed today, go to DelmarvaLife.com and click on the show tab. Now, you know, this is something that has been drilled into my head all my life. My father was an over-the-road truck driver for 35 years,
That's
so
right.
he saw a lot out there. And one thing that he told us even before we could drive is you've got to leave room for these trucks. Don't, when you're going, you're passing, don't pull up in front of them because they can't stop. They cannot stop. And you know how it says on the back of the truck, you know, if you can't see my mirrors, I can't see you. It's absolutely true. Just leave them lots of room. You'll get to where you're going safely. They'll get to where they're going safely. He's not saying that every driver out there, every truck driver is a good driver, but you need to take precautions to keep everyone safe on the road.
You can do.
Exactly.
So do them.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, somebody else who's gone through some very tough times, Duck Dynasty's Miss Kay. She joins us next to tell us what life was really like for all the fame and the fortune. Plus, she lets us in on some of her family Thanksgiving traditions.
We're also going to hear from a few of your other favorite stars on how they spend the holidays. Who doesn't eat turkey and who is all about the football? We find out.
Plus, a lot of us are getting ready to prepare that turkey and all the trimmings. The last thing you need to deal with is a leaky fridge or faucet. We're going to learn how you can prevent plumbing problems this holiday. Delmarva Life. We'll be right back.
DelmarvaLife is brought to you by Sussex County Federal Credit Union, guiding you to your financial future. Peninsula Regional Medical Center, honored to serve the entire Delmarva Peninsula since 1897. Your local York and LG dealers, and State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.